Ultimately being defeated by the end of the Clone Wars, the Confederacy droid army was one of the most deadly and powerful military forces that the galaxy has ever seen, making it one of the standouts. The army was mainly built on the planet of Geonosis, and was led by the Kaleesh cyborg General Grievous during the Clone Wars. According to Count Dooku, at the start of the Clone Wars conflict in 22 BBY, the droid army outnumbered the Republic's clone army 100 to 1. In addition to this, droids were actually being produced the entirety of the Clone Wars. It was during the Separatist crisis, Count Dooku's emerging separatist movement, the Confederacy of Independent Systems, began secretly manufacturing an army of battle droids. The separatist movement was supported by the Trade Federation, and the secret droid army was discovered by Jedi Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi on Geonosis, whose capture triggered the attack by the Jedi Order as well as the New Republic's army, the Clone Troopers. The outbreak of the Clone Wars played into the hand of Darth Sidious, who masterminded the conflict while simultaneously serving as Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. The clones and the droids would fight for several years over the course of the Clone Wars conflict, with it being clear nearly instantaneously that despite being heavily outnumbered by the droids, the clones were the superior fighters and superior battle tacticians. Still though, there were hundreds of thousands of droids produced over the course of the war. It was following the death of Count Dooku at the Battle of Coruscant though that the separatist droid army battled the Grand Army of the Republic on numerous fronts, including planets like Kashyyyk, Utapau, Mygeeto, Cato Nemoidia, and more, which caused the Great Jedi Purge. Palpatine then transformed the Galactic Republic into the Galactic Empire. Palpatine then sent his new apprentice, Anakin Skywalker, who had assumed the persona of Darth Vader, to execute the Separatist Council on the planet of Mustafar. During this time, Vader also transmitted a signal deactivating the battle droids of the droid army, subsequently ending the Clone Wars. But what happened to the Separatist droid army after the events of the Clone Wars, both in Star Wars canon as well as Star Wars Legends? Today, in this video expose, we will answer that question, starting of course with Star Wars canon. Again, the majority of the droids were actually deactivated by Darth Vader, who was given the codes to deactivate the droid army by Darth Sidious himself, and then, as we saw, he executed the Separatist Council on Mustafar, leading all of the droids without any leader. However, although most of the droids deactivated, this was not the complete end of the droid army. Despite the deactivation of the Separatist droid army, its legacy still lived on in the battle droids that managed to survive the Clone Wars. After the Clone Wars, various Separatist holdouts survived and attempted to actually fight the Empire. During the Imperial era, a group of battle droids under the leadership of General Kalini inhabited the wreckage of a DH Omni support vessel on the planet of Agamar. Believing the deactivation signal was a Republic trick, Kalini had overridden the command signal, preventing the shutdown of his droid forces. In the year 2 BBY, he encountered the former clone Captain Rex and the Jedi Purge survivor Kanan Jarrus, and still believed that the Clone Wars had not yet ended, despite being over for more than a decade. Kalini then organized a final battle with his prisoners. The rebels actually managed to break through Kalini's lines, and Ezra Bridger managed to convince Kalini and Rex to put aside their differences in order to escape all of the Imperial forces who were now invading. The cooperation informally ended the Clone Wars officially, and allowed Rex and Kalini and his droids to make peace with the past, joining forces against their new enemy, the Empire. Another Separatist holdout during the reign of the Galactic Empire was a holdout on PM6986, led by JF86. After the Battle of Anaxis and the cataclysm that destroyed the planet, a droid army survived on the Separatist stronghold of the planet that would eventually become the planetoid known as PM6986. Awoken by a Separatist signal that originated light years away, JF86 proceeded to reactivate the rest of the droid army. Following the last orders that were transmitted to it, this new droid army attempted to destroy the Senate and the New Republic, unaware of the events in the galaxy and the transformation of the Republic into the Galactic Empire. The droid JF86 was not able to carry out his plan though, as the droid possessed no starships to ferry his troops, and as such was forced to remain on the planetoid, waiting for an opportunity. It should be noted that this planetoid full of battle droids is actually still currently not accounted for in the Star Wars universe, and there are these still droids activated that served during the Clone Wars era, but those are the only two droid holdouts that we know of currently in Star Wars canon. Again, one predominantly appearing in Star Wars Rebels, and this unfortunately currently ends the story of the droid army up until this point in Star Wars canon. Now let's get into Legend. In Legends continuity, the majority of the droid army would meet a similar fate to canon, as Darth Vader executed the Separatist Council on Mustafar. After completing his murder spree, Vader Vader used the master control signal to transmit the order to deactivate all of the droids across the galaxy. On planets as far out as Martynas, the droids simply deactivated immediately when the order was relayed, much to the confusion of the commanders, thus bringing an official end to the Clone War. In Legends though, this is where the key differences start. The new Empire was swift to absorb the remnants of the Separatist droid army into their ranks, including spider droids, Magna Guards, and more. However, not all Separatist droids became a part of the Imperial Army. Some worlds, such as Anarch, still used battle droids against the new Empire and refused to surrender, thus resulting in the formation of the Separatist holdouts in 19 BBY. Also, the Geonosian Gaizo Deleso reactivated a portion of the army on Mustafar. They actually caught the attention of Vader's Fist and the 501st Legion, who stormed the planet shortly afterward. This attack by the clones' 501st actually resulted in a large faction of the Separatist holdouts to fall, thus resulting in a fragmentation of the Confederacy. Some droids were not actually shut down. The droids of Geonosis did not require a control ship to activate and deactivate them, as was actually discovered during the Clone Wars by Plo Koon and Ki-Adi Mundi. Therefore, these droid leftovers from Geonosis survived the deactivation. Wedge Antilles found this out the hard way after his X-Wing crashed on Geonosis during the Galactic Civil War, 3 years after the destruction of the first Death Star. Following the rebels' retreat from the planet, the Imperial stormtroopers utterly destroyed whatever was left of the droids after being led there by Antilles, along with the last surviving core ship in existence, one of the sole remaining strongholds of the Separatist holdouts in Legends continuity. Even though a majority of the Separatist organizations were discovered, many former relics of their influence remained for decades following the Galactic Civil War, from crashed droids to forgotten droid foundries and multiple systems on the Outer Rim. Following the dissolution of the Separatist holdouts, some droids were not shut down, but managed to form their own societies. On Arzid, a squad of E4 Baron droids overthrew the existing government to rule the settlement, and essentially went rogue, again being able to establish their own society. There was also a case where several dozen Manta droid subfighters founded a colony on Man Calamari, where they formed a symbolic relationship with some native men. But these are pretty much the last of the droid armies that remained in both Legends as well as canon continuity. Again, in canon, we only really know of 2 Separatist holdouts with battle droid, with both believing that the message to deactivate was actually a trick on behalf of the Republic, causing them not to listen to the order, and with both groups actually believing that the Clone Wars was still carrying on, and designed to destroy clone troopers, now the nearest thing to that being stormtroopers. It is unknown how long exactly these battle droids will last, but there are still remnants of them in fact in the canon Star Wars universe, even decades after the Clone Wars. In Legends though, there's far more explanations with what exactly happened to the droid army. Some of them completely went rogue, able to establish their own society and government, while others were controlled by Geonosians who had a role in manufacturing them originally. These unfortunately though were mainly wiped out by Darth Vader and his clone Legion, on the planet of Mustafar itself, where Vader initially got his injuries. And then of course in Legends continuity, the last and final major stronghold on the planet of Geonosis, which were unable to actually mobilize similar to other battle droids, and once they were discovered by the Empire, they sent massive squads of stormtroopers down to the planet to take care of the threat, essentially destroying some of the last droids that were loyal to the Separatist movement. But there it is, my friends, the fate of the droid army from both Legends and canon continuity. So now we come to the question of the video. Out of all of these explanations and stories of battle droids that survived past the Clone Wars, which is your favorite? And do you like the explanation of what actually happened with the droid army following the Clone Wars conflict? If you guys have other video suggestions, I would love to hear them in the comments down below. As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.